Welcome to Security Nation, an ESA podcast that brings you the voice of electronic security and life safety. We bring on security pros to discuss the latest industry happenings, new technology, and best practices, telling your story to become the ever-present voice in an ever-changing industry. I'd like to introduce this episode's guest. We have Aiden O'Brien, the Executive Director of the Foundation for Advancing Security Talent, also known as FAST. Thanks for coming on the podcast today, Aiden.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me. I think we can just call it FAST from now on. Foundation for Advancing Security Talent is a bit of a mouthful.
It sure is, yeah. So from now on, it's FAST and everyone will know what we're referring to. Awesome. So I know that we've mentioned FAST in some of our previous episodes, but we haven't really had a dedicated episode that just kind of explains the whole purpose of FAST, why it started, what its mission is, how people can support it or be a part of it in some way. So I thought it would be good to have, start doing that here today. And so if you could, Aiden, maybe tell our listeners a little bit about FAST and kind of go into that story a little bit.
Yeah, of course. So FAST has a really simple mission, which is to connect talent with careers in the security industry. But as everyone knows, that's a simple mission, yet a pretty challenging problem.
Yes.
But FAST was really started a few years ago between ESA and SIA to really help address the workforce challenges our industry faces. And so we work in several different spaces, but really our sort of key tenets to attracting talent to the industry are through outreach, research, and education. And so in those sort of three key strategic areas, we really aim to make an impact and bring more talent into the industry because as we all know that the security industry is in a really tight competition for talent with several other trades, and it's kind of been an issue that's been in this industry a long time and really shows no signs of letting up. And so FAST is a really key part of helping to solve that issue.
Absolutely. I mean, you ask anyone in this industry what they think the top challenge that we're facing and what they think it is, and unanimously people will say the workforce issue. And it's kind of coming from all directions, whether it be, an aging workforce or the fact, like you mentioned, there's other trades that we're kind of competing with and trying to show like, hey, this is a good industry to develop a trade in and a career in. There's so many different kind of things that we're facing at the same time. So FAST sure has its work cut out for it, so to speak.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think with that sort of challenge, there's such an opportunity for FAST too, because, once you talk to students or talk to someone, because most people don't really know that the security industry exists and that it's kind of separate from other industries. And so once you start to talk a little bit about it, we have some great data that we just collected with our 2024 security industry compensation study. So when you start to kind of show the data, show the sort of work that you do in the industry, show sort of really the impact that you can make in this industry, I think it's really compelling. So FAST is sort of here to tell that story.
Absolutely. I think the first part with addressing any real problem or issue is that education factor. You've mentioned it. FAST recently did the 2024 compensation study for the industry. And I'm actually hoping we can kind of maybe dive into that a little bit and share some of those tidbits with our listeners. Before we go into some of those high level stats, would you be able to kind of share how we compiled, FAST compiled some of that data, how they did the survey, stuff like that?
Yeah, absolutely. So this has been sort of a long-running project, really kicked off at the beginning of 2023. So I think it's been a really long time coming, but we're really excited to release the report in early February. But sort of the background is that I think these compensation studies are really valuable and provide a really great snapshot in time of sort of the compensation landscape of, in this case, the security industry. And so FAST partnered with ESA, SIA, PSA Security Network, and Security Sales and Integration Magazine to basically survey each of those collective memberships on compensation on specific roles. We sort of defined, we have about 50 or 60 roles that we surveyed about, and so we asked those members to provide that salary data on those specific kind of generalized role titles. We kind of recognize that not all companies will call the same roles the same thing. So we gave that little background. And then through our survey partner Vault Consulting, we aggregated all the data and provided this report on the FAST website, which dives into sort of some big picture industry trends, which we asked about, as well as those specific data points on specific jobs.
Gotcha. Okay, so that's exciting. And we released this, I think it was February 1st of 2024, correct? That's when it
Correct.
officially got announced and everything. Okay, awesome. Well, then maybe we can go into some of those stats that you're able to share with our listeners without spoiling it, because of course we want people to access the full study, get the full rundown by downloading it themselves.
Yeah, so absolutely. You can find the entire report on FAST's website. It's free to ESA, SIA, and PSA members. So really encourage you to go and check that out. But one of the things I think we kind of kicked this off at the top that was really interesting to me is that more than 75% of integration companies struggle to hire technician talent. And so that I think isn't going to be really surprising to many people, but it's really sort of compelling, I think, in that there's just such a recognition that this is an issue. And kind of just spinning off that is that only 50% of companies actively recruit from training programs. So like a specific security technician training program, there aren't too many of those, and not a lot of those companies are recruiting. So I think that is a really clear window for FAST to make an impact, is sort of that one-stop shop of providing those education programs and making it really easy for companies to find that technician talent, because
absolutely,
that's just something that is a huge issue that a lot of companies aren't doing right now.
Correct. Wow, that's really interesting. So yeah, 50%, that's a lot of opportunity there.
Yeah, and I think one of the other really compelling areas for me, kind of thinking about how we can bring more talent into the industry, is kind of that some of the job titles, a little bit more specific in our industry, but for me, like the technician data was really, really interesting. And so we found that an entry-level technician makes about $48,000 per year, which is about $23 per hour, which coincidentally enough is about the average for the skilled trades in America, average salary wage. But at the same time, I think that's compelling in that, I think a lot of integration companies will tell you they'll take not anybody. You have to have the skills necessary to do the role, but you can kind of get into this industry without going to a 4-year degree for sure.
A trade school or something, yeah.
There's just so much opportunity for someone coming into this industry in really making a career out of it without having to go into a ton of debt and go through a ton of schooling that, there's time that goes into that as well. And so I thought that was super interesting. And then just kind of beyond that, just the career progression for a technician entering the industry is very compelling in that, it starts at that $48,000 level, but it can go up pretty quickly.
It can go up, yeah.
Tons of opportunity to kind of branch out, in that space.
Absolutely. I think that's really interesting to know that entry level, you could be banking, a really decent salary. And something that I think about as I'm listening to this, and I'm sure some of our listeners are as well, is I remember when I was in high school, for some reason I knew like of different trades that I could potentially go into. Like I remember for some reason I was considering becoming a welder when I was 17, 16 years old. So somehow big welding got into my psyche. And I think something that's interesting when it comes to FAST is how can we do the same thing where we educate young people knowing, hey, like you could become a security technician right away, right out of high school potentially, with the proper training certification, and be making a pretty decent career for yourself. Are there ways that, our listeners can get involved with FAST, or maybe their local schools, maybe some kind of volunteering program to find a way to work within their communities to kind of foster this education?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the FAST initiatives that I'm really excited about is we actually launched a few different volunteer committees called FAST working groups that are really diving into kind of this area of engaging with schools and helping to direct the research that FAST is doing and helping to direct some of the awards programs we might talk about later. So we would love to have volunteers on that. I think that that's a really great space. And then just, being willing to, if you know of a training program, or if you within like a school or something
Yeah.
like that, or being willing to go and speak to students. That's something we're looking for as we kind of build these education programs that, um, help will help educate students a little more on the industry. That's another area that FAST is working on, is like, this is what a security technician does, and this is why you should
Mm-hmm.
be a part of that. I think that that's something, it sounds so basic, but that we don't really have as an industry. And so I think that's just such a key role for FAST to play.
Absolutely. Do you want people who may want to get involved in some way, should they reach out to you? Should they go to the FAST website? Where's somewhere that we could direct them if they feel called to action, so to speak?
Yeah, I think the FAST website is a great place. My contact information is on plenty of places
It's
on
everywhere.
there. Yeah, you can fill out the form on our website. There's like a FAST newsletter you can subscribe to. And then I definitely suggest people follow us on LinkedIn. We post all sorts of great stuff. Kind of the latest and greatest kind of goes there first for FAST. And so definitely encourage people to engage with us there as well.
Awesome. And I think the website URL is at www.fastadvancing, or am I messing it up already?
Advancing
Advancing. There we
security.org.
go. Advancingsecurity.org. Thank you for
Yeah.
correcting me.
Yeah.
Awesome. So yeah, thanks for sharing some of the stats on the compensation study. That
Mhm.
full study is available for download on that website that we just mentioned. And like you had said, it is free for download for both SIA and ESA members. What about if you're not a member? Is it still available for download? Maybe you can, is it kind of
Yeah.
shed some details there?
Yeah, so it's available for purchase as well on the
Okay,
website. So however you want to access it, that's the way to get
it's
there.
there.
Yep.
Awesome. So I know that FAST also has a jobs board on the website. Could you kind of share with the listeners a little bit how they can utilize this, what it's comprised of?
Yeah, absolutely. So the Fast Job Board is actually an industry-specific job board. So unlike Indeed or LinkedIn, we're actually solely focused on the security industry and opportunities within the security industry. So again, like the compensation study, that's another Fast initiative that is free for ESA and SIA members to actually post jobs on that. And so it's just like any other job board, you can post jobs on there, but kind of what differentiates it is that it's completely security industry specific. So FAST uses that in our outreach to schools and other groups like that to
Mm,
kind of showcase the opportunities within the security industry. And so I just really encourage listeners, so many security companies are have tons of open roles. And so like this is just such a great opportunity to it's a free member benefit as an ESA member, but it also really shows as FAST as reaching out to schools that the more jobs we have on there, the better. The more it kind of shows a really vibrant security industry. So really encourage folks to post their jobs there. But I just think it's a really great resource for ESA and CM members.
absolutely. I mean, yeah, anybody who's looking for talent, I would definitely if you're a hiring manager, keeping that jobs board bookmarked,
Mm-hmm.
because it's, yeah, like you said, it's specific and specific for a specific problem that we face.
Yeah, and you can actually go on there and like talent can actually like job seekers can like post their resumes, and so you can kind of search
Nice.
that way by like looking through folks' resumes and like kind of it's a little more in depth than just like looking at job postings. There's a lot more to it, so definitely encourage people to go and check it out. I think it's a pretty cool resource.
That's awesome. Thanks for sharing details
Yeah.
on that. So I think we're already about like 15 minutes in. So it's pretty crazy how quickly
Yeah.
these fly by.
Hmm.
I was hoping maybe we could go over some events that FAST is either hosting or is participating in. Would you be able to share some of that?
Yeah, definitely. So I'll start with hosting. So we actually have upcoming, it's called the Fast Golf Classic, which is really Fast's main fundraiser for the year. And so this year, we're really excited to be hosting the golf tournament at PSA Tech in Dallas on May 13th. And so this is just a great opportunity. It's a charity golf tournament, but it's really our main fundraiser. And so
Yeah.
as much industry support and as much industry participation we can get, the more of an impact FAST can make. But it's going to be just a super fun day, golfing, enjoying the great weather. It's February in New Hampshire right now, so looking forward to
Oh,
May.
yeah.
May in Dallas will be really nice, and we'll just have a great group, combined with a great event in PSA Tech. So really looking forward to that. And then just for events that FAST is going to be a part of, we actually have a panel both at ISC West coming up in April, as well as ESX in June. And so we're really looking forward to bringing some sort of really practical takeaways on like what the security industry, what the landscape of the workforce in the security industry is, and sort of what the experts that we work with, kind of what advice do they have for companies. So at ISC West, we're going to be talking about the alternative workforce and strategies companies can use to kind of ingrain that into their operations. And then at ESX, we'll be talking about the winning the technician talent race and kind of what the
Gotcha.
compensation and workforce landscape looks like in that regard. So really exciting.
Awesome.
A lot of great stuff coming up for FAST.
That is exciting. I know. So plenty of things to be registering and putting on your calendar, folks.
Mm-hmm.
I know with the Fast Golf Tournament, the registration is officially announced for that. And I think ISC West is around the corner. And then ESX registration is, I think just barely also got announced. So people who are looking to book their trips and everything, now's the time. I'm trying to think if there was anything in regards to events. Well, we have the Security Technician Awards, right? And so those are going to be presented at ESX. But for those who may not know about it, because this is a more recent initiative, a recent award. I think it got launched in the last year by FAST. Could you kind of go over what those awards are, what the purpose of them are, and then also maybe like how winners are selected and stuff like that?
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you for reminding me. This is a great FAST initiative, and one of many things that we're really proud of. But the Security Technician of the Year awards were actually presented, the first ever awards were presented at ISC East this fall. And they go to 10 technicians who really go above and beyond and really make an impact on their company and their community. And so we accept nominations. We're actually going to be opening our nominations on March 15th, so coming up soon. But you can go to the FAST website and really get information around that. But we take the nominations, and we have a committee of industry leaders that selects them based on sort of the nominations, which include kind of a write up on from the company, the nominator's perspective on sort of the impact they've made. And we really encourage things like customer testimonials and things like that to kind of set these nominations apart. But, we just, you can find the list of the winners and kind of their stories on FAST website as well, the winners from 2023. So just really excited to bring this award to ESX this summer. I think we had almost all of the technicians there at ISC East. And so it was just a really, really special ceremony to be a part of.
Oh, that's awesome. So when the nominations open, can people nominate other technicians? Can you nominate yourself? Can it be either or? How does that kind of work?
Yeah, so we ask that you nominate someone else. So we kind of it's not like a self-nomination.
Self-nomination, patting yourself on the back, so to speak.
Yeah. But you can nominate, like we encourage companies to, nominate a group of It doesn't have to be you don't have to pick just one technician. You can nominate several at your company.
Gotcha.
In, the awards, the selection group doesn't hold that against you. So we kind of encourage, because we know there are so many great technicians, it's going to be hard for companies to choose just one. So, we encourage you to nominate as many folks as you think are deserving. And really, it's a really cool event and a cool awards program. So really excited to be a part of that.
Awesome. And, I know it's already passed, but I know FAST also worked hard to create a National Security Technician Day, which is January 23rd. This was the second year, so it's been a month since the second holiday that we've been able to celebrate as an industry. But that's another thing that I think we want to take the opportunity to bring awareness around, that FAST has started an initiative to kind of recognize these technicians because they're kind of the hidden heroes behind our industry. They go in and they make sure all of these systems are running properly, installed correctly, so that in those moments where it really does matter that everything was installed properly to protect people and property, um, you know, I think it's kind of cool that you've been able to accomplish so many things that recognize this lifeblood of our industry.
Yeah, and I think that's just I completely agree with everything you said, and I think that it's just so important for fast. I talked a little at the beginning about like attracting that talent to the industry, but we have
Right.
to make sure that they stay here. And awards programs and recognitions like what we were just talking about just make such a big difference. And so it's kind of an ongoing, it takes work to do that. And so we
It
want to make
is.
sure that Fast is sort of leading the charge and showing companies, some of the best practices and some of the ways that they can really show the talent that they have that they belong.
Yep. To address that, yeah, there's the onboarding issue, getting the talent, and then there's also the retention. And a big part of that retention, which I think Fast is kind of addressing with a multi-pronged approach. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you've done the compensation study to see, okay, how are we paying people? Are we paying people correctly? How are we
Mm-hmm.
handling the education, training aspect of it, the awareness side of it? And then there's also how are we addressing the culture side of things? Are we actually doing what we can do as an industry for people when they get into these positions, when they get into these careers, to feel like they're getting honored, recognized, and appreciated for the work that they do? So, yeah, Fast is really, I mean, as you can see, addressing it from all angles.
It's a really cool program. I'm really so proud to be a part of it and leading it because, like I said, there's just such an opportunity in the security industry. Like this is a really cool and unique industry that I think we there's a need and a challenge, but there's, like I said, just such an opportunity to bring more people into the industry. So really, really excited to be a part of that and really excited to see where we go as we continue to move forward.
Absolutely. Well, so I think we're kind of getting ready to wrap up here. Are there any other ways that people can support Fast or get involved that we may not have mentioned? Maybe some closing remarks that you may have?
Yeah, I think just staying up to date on the Fast website, subscribing to our newsletter, following
Yeah.
us on LinkedIn, just all, there will be, ongoing initiatives and efforts through those areas to kind of stay up to date with. But really excited to, as we're working, we're kind of looking to launch a program to give folks some education in security beyond just the recognizing the talent in the research. And so there's going to be plenty more news on that to come, but just I think now's a great opportunity. Now's a great time and a great opportunity to get involved with Fast as we're really ramping up our efforts. So just encourage people to stay up to date with us. And if you have any questions, I'm easy to find. So please reach out.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Aiden, for sharing all of that great information. And you heard it here, folks. Get on the ground floor with Fast and addressing the most pressing issue in our industry. Thanks again for coming on the podcast. Thank you, listeners who tuned in today. Make sure to subscribe. We're on all the podcasting platforms, and the full video version of our episodes are available on ESA's YouTube. And if you're curious about how ESA membership can power your business, please visit our website at esaweb.org. Take some time to schedule a discovery call with our membership team. I'm sure you'll be happy that you did. Have a great day, Security Pros.